Hey everyone, it's time for another 3 at 3 on Solar PV. I'm Jenn Runyon, Chief Editor of Renewable Energy World.
And I'm Paula Mintz, Chief Market Research Analyst, SPV Market Research, and I think we're talking about a little bit about wind this week, so it should be 3 at 3 at Solar PV and it friends.
And other things, and other cool renewables. Well, so our 3 topics this week, we're going to do a little bit on Intersolar, we're going to check in on the solar trade case, and then we're going to look at how to communicate the real job growth in the renewable energy industry and some initiatives that are happening on that front. So let's start with some Intersolar takeaways. I was not there. I was holding down the fort, receiving lots of announcements from companies. You were there.
Yes, I was there.
Lots of things being announced. Yeah, so what were your takeaways?
Well, let me just basically give an impression. First of all, I was lucky to have Cassandra Sweet, who's a journalist, who was a journalist with the Wall Street Journal and is now out on her own covering the conference for me. So that will come out in Solar Flare, which gets distributed through you.
Yeah.
But through Pinwell, by the way. Sorry, not through you personally. But so I actually had a time just to be a conference attendee. I was only there 2 days, and it's the usual excitement. It's a time for the industry to get together, these big conferences, and actually, talk to each other on a one-on-one basis, or group, and themes emerge. One of the themes this year is the trade. A big theme is the trade petition.
Lots of people worried about what's going to happen.
Lots of people, yes. And and again, the future, we don't know. It's out of our control. Right. There are ways you can try to help it, but you don't know what's going to happen in the future. Talking about new markets, what new markets are opening up. People and oh my goodness, the world of storage. I would think every conference now is at least 50% or more storage, battery, whatever technology. So as always, a lot of enthusiasm and good spirits, and people happy to be getting together and at one of the annual parties.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, my letter from the editor for our July-August solar issue was digital everything, and it's so beyond, just using computers to do your work. Yeah. It's so beyond that. We're driving the grid, we're making our inverters smart, our inverters are talking to the grid and talking to the utility. All of that stuff, I'm sure, was on display at Intersolar.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, cool stuff. Well, so keep your eye out for our September-October issue, where we're looking at more specifically at storage and more on that smart energy talk. But so let's touch on the trade case. Is there any news? Have you heard? Right now, we're still kind of just waiting for the why am I blanking? ITC to make the International Trade Commission to make their recommendation, and then that will go to Donald Trump, who will finally decide whether or not to impose tariffs on imported solar cells.
Well, as you can imagine, lots of anxiety around that. Yeah. And what's going on is it's just it's all pending. Yeah. The ITC has to look at all the information and decide whether or not damage was done. On the good thing is that this is at this point not retroactive. And the good thing is that it will be quick. So instead of a long, drawn out, the last one was painfully long. Right. This is sort of like ripping a Band-Aid off. And
explain that. What do you mean quick? Like we'll find out quickly?
It's under 201, so it's a fast track. 201 is was set up years ago to allow the president actually to be able to negotiate better and with trade issues. So fast decisions could be made. It was supposed to actually expire, but it keeps being renewed because I guess presidents like being able to make rapid decisions, or not. But so this started way back with Gerald Ford. And the decision has to come down rapidly and then go to the president, and then he has to make it rapidly. I forget, right off the top of my head, 2 to 3 years. It's still pain, know. And there's a lot of module technology at very low prices. If you're a larger developer or EPC, is already being held in inventory for projects. You have to buy a certain amount of hardware in order to get financing, et cetera, and for PPA contracts. So it's not like it will. There's no two ways about it. A minimum price plus a tariff on cells is going to affect demand side participants. It's going to affect module assemblers because they provide cells, and there wasn't enough cell manufacturing in the U.S. for a myriad of reasons in the first place.
Yeah, right.
So we need actually in this country to support manufacturing. I'm not referring to the Tesla New York facility. I mean, the government, federal and state, needs to step up and support and have patience for how long it takes to actually ramp up manufacturing. If we want a domestic industry, it's going to take more than just this trade petition will not do it. The last one didn't do it. This one won't do it. We need more.
Yeah. Right. Well, one way that some industry participants are hoping to really tell the story of clean energy is through this jobs campaign that was announced also last week. Our publisher attended the launch party for the new campaign. We have a story on Renewable Energy World. The campaign is really looking to tell the story of clean energy jobs, and they're going to be traveling to coal country and looking for coal miners that are now installing solar. They're going to be going to openings. They're going to be climbing up wind turbines and showing the job of a wind technician. So I know that is all in a big attempt to really educate the whole country about how viable these jobs are and how important they are and how big the industry really is. So it's a pretty cool thing.
And the organizations were?
Yeah, so it's being founded, well, let's see, the organizations involved right now were the American Wind Energy Association, the Solar Energy Industries Association, and Nextracker. And they're working in partnership with the Solar Foundation, Advanced Energy Economy, and Vote Solar. And so all together, they will be working together to tell that story on a real national level. You know, beyond
that's important.
Yeah, I mean, beyond the B2B stuff, that's what I do. You know, I report to the internal industry, and all that's important news as well. But this is really trying to tell everybody about how big this industry is.
It's absolutely important. It's crucial.
Yeah.
And I'll use a retail example. Years and years and years ago,
Okay.
SunPower had a campaign where they were advertising directly to end users. And I mean, you heard them on NPR, you heard them on radio, on
SunPower,
TV.
huh?
Yeah, SunPower. And this is years ago. And it was direct to end users. So I went into a grocery store. This is a small datum, it's just a data point.
Yeah.
I was in a grocery store one day in line, and somebody behind me, two of the people behind me in this rather long line, were talking about solar. And my little ears perked up. Mm-hmm. And I'm listening, and one of them was talking about solar, and the other went, "Oh, you mean like SunPower?"
Oh, there you go.
Then she started talking about hearing it on the radio. So that is an example. You have to reach out to the end user, and this sounds like this is what it also reaches to politicians, but politicians are affected by people who vote for them.
The politicians need to hear the end users talking about it.
So I'm really thrilled that big organizations are getting behind what is necessary to bring the solar message to the public.
Yeah, agree. So on that note, Renewable Energy World is hosting a webcast next Monday. I'm moderating it. We are looking at creating offshore wind jobs specifically for the offshore oil and gas industry. So we were really showcasing what the opportunities are, where you can work, what it means, what types of jobs you need, what types of certifications you need, really getting kind of specific about how fossil energy workers can transition to renewable energy. So
yes, they can transition to solar, they can transition to wind. The jobs are out there. And maybe we can talk about this more next time.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we are
Absolutely.
Out of time.
Yes.
Out of time right now, but thanks so much for joining us, everybody. And good to talk to you, Paula.
Talk to you in a couple of weeks at our next 3 at 3.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.